That movie nut here with a review for Young Frankenstein, the 1974 horror spoof starring Gene Wilder, Peter Boyle, Marty Feldman, and Cloris Leachman. The story revolves around Dr. Frederick Frankenstein, the grandson of Baron Frankenstein, who is in turn the father of Victor Frankenstein, the legendary monster maker. When the Baron dies, Freddy inherits his castle and soon discovers his family's dark legacy, and, well, the obvious occurs. He ends up on his own path of madness and subsequently defies nature. But not without the help of his ever-trusty sidekick Igor, played by Marty Feldman, the beautiful Inga, played by Teri Garr, and the sinisterly wonderful Frau Blucher, played by Cloris Leachman. Before I get into the main points, I just want to give a shout out to the black and white cinematography of the film. It is gorgeous. It is perfectly accurate to the time period, and it replicates beautifully the classic James Whale feel, and it looks amazing. Now onto the acting. What can I say here? Magnificent all around. Gene Wilder plays both dramatic and yet over-dramatic at the same time as the Doctor, creating this wonderful balance of sort of straight man and madness. And Peter Boyle, of course, plays a very sympathetic and very likable monster, but not one without his occasional rage. Teri Garr comes in and does a serviceable job. She's not the best ever, but she's naive enough to allow enough crazy and dirty jokes, courtesy of Mr. Mel Brooks, to work. But the real show stealers here are, of course, Marty Feldman as Igor and Cloris Leachman as Frau Blucher. I think everyone who's anyone knows who Marty Feldman's character is in this. Those crazy eyes, his cowardly nature, his ever-changing hump. There are so many great things, and he plays it so wonderfully. Very frequently he'll do little gestures, little shoulder shakes, and smiles to indicate his moods, and it's just fantastic and funny to see. And of course, Cloris Leachman, as I said before, is fantastically crazy but sinister as the housekeeper Frau Blucher. The design is beautiful and complements the black and white cinematography perfectly, once again replicating the classic feel of Frankenstein. Castles, spooky laboratories, dark stairwells, revolving bookcases, and even villagers with Cockney accents. Everything you know and love from Frankenstein is right here. And now for the script, or more specifically the jokes, since this is of course under the name of Mr. Mel Brooks, the man who brought us The Producers and Blazing Saddles. The humor is fantastic here. Contrary to what you might think when you see the DVD, this is surprisingly sophisticated at points. Yeah, there are loads of cheap dick jokes here, but it's not like an Aaron Seltzer and Jason Friedberg movie where it's nothing but fart and dick jokes. Here, the jokes actually have purpose, and a lot of them come from this great chemistry between the actors, particularly with Gene and Marty as Frankenstein and Igor. They have so many little wonderful moments together, and you can tell that the actors had a lot of fun making the film, and in fact, the outtakes themselves reveal just how hard it was for these guys not to laugh. And the film, of course, is filled with so many memorable lines that it would be impossible to list them all. There's so many great jokes in here that are both childish but just so well integrated that you don't mind them. They're not like more modern or recent spoofs which just go on a limb to sort of try to be pop culture-ish. Here the jokes are in the context of the film. They're not about referencing pop culture. Here, the jokes are just about Frankenstein and the world he lives in, and it works fantastically. But the pacing between the jokes is good as well. I mean, it's not joke after joke after joke. There's a joke, there's a little bit of story, and then we get another joke. The jokes are not always continuous. There are times where it will be one joke and then another joke, but for the most part, it's a joke, a tiny bit of story, a joke, a tiny bit of story, and then a joke. There's no real sort of rushing of humor here. There's a There's enough good material in the film to keep it going. So I officially award Young Frankenstein the Gold Star. It is a fantastic comedy on so many levels, and there are so many memorable bits, so many jokes which just work beautifully, and Marty Feldman and Gene Wilder are a perfect duo. What more is there to say? If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. I think you'll have a great time.